Hello, and welcome to another riveting episode of The Devil's Advocate. I'm your host, Mitchell Drayton, and today we're diving into a world of cinematic what-ifs. Ever watch a movie and wonder what you would do if the script were flipped? Well, now's your chance. Chime in, share your thoughts, and let's unravel those alternate realities together. Don't forget to check out the polls, drop your comments, and hit the notification bell so we can stay in touch. And let's have a fantastic time. Let's go. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Devil's Advocate. Today's movie is Non-Stop. Now this one came out in 2014 and it's starring Liam Neeson, I believe is how you say it, and Julianne Moore. Julianne Moore's, I guess actor is not as important in this one, but Liam Neeson is. His name is Bill and he's an air marshal. Now, some people know what air marshals do or what they are. On this particular aircraft, there happens to be two of them. One who was hell-bent on following protocols and tells Bill at some point in time that we shouldn't be talking. But Bill had to let him know that he had just received a text message from someone who obviously got his number and is remaining anonymous, that he or she would kill somebody every 20 minutes until their demands are met. Now, the demands are that they want $150 million put into a particular account. Just so happens that this particular account belongs to Liam Neeson. We'll just call him Bill, the air marshal. And he had no accounts of it. He had no idea that account ever existed. He didn't open it up. But this individual was able to open up in his name. So it starts off with him just being implicated of being the actual hijacker of this aircraft. Not to mention, due to his past as far as being a part of the NYPD and then leaving them after he faced a death of his daughter and then ultimately the divorce between him and his ex-wife. He became an air marshal after all that was said and done. That did eventually come out, and it didn't paint him in the best of light. Even though those things were coming out as they were mid-air and the people that he worked alongside of did not believe him due to knowing his past, he still continued to ensure the safety of all the passengers upon this plane, to include the captain and the co-pilot of this aircraft. Now, it just so happens that one of the individuals on this airplane was sending him messages. He was trying to find out who it was, so he left from business class and went back to where all the riffraff fly on the aircraft, same place I fly. And as he was conversating with his individuals, he was waiting to see who was looking down at their phones. When he couldn't do it by himself, he enlisted the help of two of the other, what are they called? Oh my gosh, what is the name of those, the people on the aircraft that help out with serving drinks, the flight attendants. There we go. Goodness gracious, had a blank there. But he got their help and they were able to pull up all the, cameras that were on the other individuals. And even with their help, they were able to locate around 8 to 9 people that were on their phones during the time that he was texting back and forth with this potential individual that he really doesn't even know if they were on the aircraft or not. Now, protocol, I guess, with the air marshals is to cut off all telecommunications so that people cannot use the text messaging capabilities while they're up in the air. He said there's no way that he can do that because otherwise he won't be able to communicate with this individual. Now, this is like a what if moment. Now, let's just say what if he did do as protocol said and he was to disable people being able to text back and forth, and then he took all the cell phones and then one by one text back to see which phone lit up. Of course, he would have to go seat by seat saying who he got the phones from. And then I think that would have quickly helped him locate whose phone it was, what seat they were sitting in, and then what individual was texting him, or at least know if they were on the aircraft, let alone. Now, the problem that probably caused a lot of this to be exacerbated is the fact that Bill was an avid drinker. He was an alcoholic, and he had a bit of a drink in his coffee before he got on this flight, but everyone knew him and knew of some of his issues, so they kind of overlooked it. every time that he interacted with a potential suspect, he was very, we'll say volatile with him. He was pushing them around, throwing them up against the walls and things of that nature. So the people that are on this aircraft did not really trust him due to that matter. And as the movie goes on, it got worse to where a couple of guys jumped him and tried to disarm him. Now, they were able to collect one gun, but the problem was before that happened, the other air marshal, Bill, took him into the back area and had a conversation with him where he was kind of like, I don't know what you're talking about. Then he pressed him even further, pushed him into the restroom, the back of the aircraft. And the other air marshal said, I can cut you in on this deal. And at that point, he tries to pull his gun on him, and Bill has to snap his neck. Boom. You got one of the air marshals already taken out. And it doesn't even stop there. What makes it even worse is the guy was kind of like, hey, I never said that I would be the one to kill this first individual. So the first 20 minutes pass. He ends up killing the air marshal. Another 20 minutes is coming up. He does find who he believes is a potential suspect. However, after he puts him, I guess in the back of the aircraft in the farthest seat and bounds his hands, another individual, being the actual pilot, ends up dying. But no one can figure out how, because their room, or I guess the cockpit, was locked from the inside. So how do you get in there? What he found out, since he flies so often and he just breaks the rules whenever he sees fits, he was smoking in the lavatory. And when he blew a puff of smoke, the air started to go out very quickly back behind one of the, I think it's like the napkin holder, paper towel holder. I can't remember exactly which one. And so he pries it back and finds out that one of the hoses that should have been connected to the wall is removed, and there's a hole that gets you pretty much a straight line of sight on the pilot. And then he goes into the trash cans and he finds what I believe is kind of like a African dart gun of some sort, where you just, you put a dart in there, you use your own air of your lungs and you blow out as fast as you can, and it shoots a dart at somebody. And then now he knows, yes, the pilot was poisoned by somebody on this aircraft, but how? If this wasn't this guy, then somebody else. So he's back at square one. He tells them to release that guy that he previously thought was a perpetrator, and it continues on, right? So we've got a dead pilot. We got a dead air marshal on the aircraft. And then another individual that he believes is it. He pulls him to the front of the plane and he convulses as well. No different than what the pilot did, foams at the mouth, and he's like, he's been poisoned. Now, after about, I don't know, we'll just say some time has passed, he gets another phone call from his other air marshals on the ground there, and they're like, hey man, we got your $150 million. You can stand down. Don't kill anybody else. We know it's you. He said, it's not me. I don't understand what's going on. We have 3 dead people up here. And then for some reason, when the guy says something to him and it sparks him, and he's kind of like, okay, something else is going on. He goes and grabs the suitcase that the other air marshal got onto the airplane because they're not, I guess, checked. And he finds out that it's a whole brick of cocaine. I'm talking about like laptop size cocaine. And he opens it completely up, and then he finds out there's a bomb on the airplane, and they got like 32 minutes left. Crazy part is that he doesn't know who did it, and then he can't disarm the bomb because it's pressurized, meaning that if he was to toss it out, if it loses pressure, it blows up. If he tries to dismantle it, it blows up. So there's no way for you to just like cut the red wire like most of the movies will say, and then save a lot of lives. So he takes that suitcase, pushes up against the back part of the airplane, the farthest back, and he tells everyone to put all of your luggage up against this so that we can force the blast out versus it being blown inside. And then around that time, he finds out that there's I think he's like a German, we'll call him a student, and he's filming everything and he's sending that information to other people, which is the reason why it's on the news. He requests his phone. The father demands it, smacks his son upside the back of the head, apologizes. And then Bill, the air marshal, starts to look at this stuff that he has recorded. Now, that's where he found out that the person that he first thought was a perpetrator was the last person to touch one of the other individuals that he thought was a perpetrator before he started to foam at the mouth. And then that's where he put two and two together. This guy is the guy, right? He was able to stab this other guy with a toxin that caused him to foam at the mouth. And then he was more than likely in the laboratory at the front, and he used a dart gun to shoot at the pilot. But he can't figure out how he did the bomb. But then again, if he was going to cut this other guy in on it, maybe he got to the air marshal in some kind of way, because, some people don't get paid enough to do some of the stuff that they do, right? So they have a kind of a tussle, and they're like gun to gun, these two guys, because he did cut him loose. This guy was able to get one of the other weapons, and Bill has one gun, and they're just pointing at each other. That's where Bill finds out that there's a second dude that's involved with all this, that he had no idea was a part of this. He thought it was just a one-man job. Finds out that it was a two-person job, and he doesn't really know what to do, right? Now, I'm going to stop here, but I will tell you that there are a lot of missing parts when it comes to this. This is a bit of a thriller. Like I said, it came out in 2014. So you may have to kind of find someone that is going to have this on Netflix or wherever you go to watch your movies in your country, and just take your time. But like I said, one of the biggest what ifs for me would be, wouldn't it have been easier to just show your badge, say that you're an air marshal, have everyone, just throw your cell phones to a bag or a box, and then go cell phone by cell phone, telling them to, release the codes to him so he can go and find out who the perpetrator is. That would have been what I would have done. But then again, like I said, he was a little inebriated at the beginning of this movie. So I'm just thinking that maybe that, impaired his judgment as to why he did what he did. He did search a few people at random, but he didn't search everybody. Now, once again, if this was me, I would say, what if he just actually searched everybody the way that normal people would be searched? Don't do random, do everybody, because we're on an aircraft. We're trying to find out who is, killing people. And if it's worth taking an hour to search everybody to find the perpetrator, I think it is worth that versus every 20 minutes a life being taken. So there it is. I'm saying? The movie, can't say it would have taken any less time if he was able to find the perpetrator by taking the cell phones or searching individual by individual, or having some of the flight attendants help him with searching the individual, especially the one or the ones that he did trust. But I do believe it would have helped narrow it down a lot faster. But then again, this individual could have snuck something else on this plane and then killed one of the flight attendants or someone else that he had assisting him during the searches. So, there's really no telling. But the biggest what if with me, like I said, would have been just to collect all the cell phones and then go from there and see what else could have happened. I'd love to hear what you think could have been another what if that could have helped solve, this crime a lot sooner, or could have helped mitigate some of the things that happened throughout the course of this movie. We'll see you next time. That wraps up this episode of The Devil's Advocate. I'm your host, Mitchell Drayton. Thanks for diving into the what if with me. Now it's your turn. Drop your thoughts, hit the polls, leave a comment, and keep the conversation going, people. Until next time, stay curious and stay questioning.